It is Wednesday, the 19th of June, 2024. It's a massive night for Scotland internationally, national level in the Euros. But it's also a big day for Scotland in European football, UEFA football to be exact, as clubs KILMARNOCK and St Mirren will find out who they'll be getting in their first European ties for the upcoming 2024-2025 season. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Later on today, the draw will be made. KILMARNOCK and St Mirren, they will find out their opponents for the Conference League and the Europa League, respectively. And I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a good season for Scottish teams in Europe. I'm confident. I don't know why, because we always fucking suck. Apart from Rangers, they're the only team that can really seem to do anything. Other than that, it's been a bit of a failure. But we've got to give credit to Aberdeen last season. They got some really good performances, had some good results as well. I mean, they beat Frankfurt, something Rangers couldn't do a couple of years ago. So I don't think that Aberdeen win over Frankfurt gets enough credit as it should get. They were also robbed in that other game against, I believe it was, Olympiacos. So, yeah, Aberdeen's run last year was good. They're not in the Europa League this year, of course. That is Hearts. Hearts will be getting some form of group stage competition, whether it be Europa League or Europa Conference League. But the big question is here, will KILMARNOCK or St Mirren get any form of group stage football? Well, it's going to require multiple wins. It's going to require them beating some decent teams. Now, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I was looking forward to KILMARNOCK's I was looking forward to KILMARNOCK. This is why you don't make a fid at 3 AM in the morning when you can barely keep your eyes open. But anyway, I was looking forward to KILMARNOCK's last run in Europe when Steve Clarke got them into third place. Obviously, he left and his assistant took over, and we all know what happened then. Connor Quay Nomads. Oh no, the Pies are out of Europe. So that was a disaster for KILMARNOCK, sorry. But now they've got another chance to get it right. I think with Derek McKinn's in charge, they've got a good chance. Defensively, we know they can be solid. If KILMARNOCK perform to their best, if they perform the way we've seen them perform against some of the big clubs in our country, Rangers and Celtic, if KILMARNOCK can put in one of their best performances, and if they can do that in Europe, then I do believe they are capable of not just beating the Diddy teams in Europe. I think they're capable of getting an upset. As long as we're not talking like top tier European clubs, I believe KILMARNOCK are capable of causing a big upset and making it in to the group stages, but they're going to have to be at their best, because when they're at their best, they're very good. When they're not at their best, we've seen some questionable performances, but to be fair, it's not often KILMARNOCK do have an off day. So as for St Mirren, last season they kind of filtered out towards the end, but I think they'll be back. I think they'll be back to their best this season. I'm hoping at least they will be. So with that said, let's have a look then at the Conference League first. Obviously, we will deal with St Mirren here. We're on Wikipedia. The first qualifying round, that draw's already been made. You can see the ties here. So quickly we'll have a look. I always like to look out for the home nations. We've got Wales versus Northern Ireland. You've got Derry City, they're taking on Magpies for Gibraltar. Linfield taking on an Icelandic team. Other than that, not a lot happening there. But so yeah, that's the teams that we have. Shelbourne's taking on St Joseph's. Got two Irish teams taking on two Gibraltar teams. Weird. Anyway, that is the first qualifying round. Then we look at the second qualifying round, and as you can see, St Mirren are seeded. Now, that's good for St Mirren. The bad news for St Mirren is they don't have a safety net. Once they lose a tie, they will be out. There's no dropping into a lower competition. So St Mirren are basically all or nothing. But if you look at this, you would much rather, obviously, be in the seeded side, because I would fancy St Mirren, and I know that obviously goes without saying, obviously you'd rather be a seeded team, but I'm looking at the unseeded side here, and I pretty much fancy St Mirren. I think St Mirren are favourites against almost all of those teams. And I still think they could beat some of the teams in the seeded section, but there is some teams in there where you would heavily back against St Mirren here, wouldn't you? If they were taking on the likes of a Copenhagen, or a Ghent. You would not be predicting St Mirren to get past those teams. However, they won't be taking on them. They'll be taking on an unseeded side, and I'm looking at the unseeded side, and I see a lot of winnable games in there. And that's good news because the coefficient's important. We need to get some wins. St Mirren need to navigate past this round here. They should be beating any side here in the unseeded category. So it's important that St Mirren, no matter who they get in the draw, it's important that they win. And not just win the tie, it's important that they win both legs. We need the Scottish teams to start winning. Over the past couple of seasons, look at how many coefficient points we've left on the table. Like Hibernian, they got beat against that side from Malta. And had they even drawn that game, we would have been ahead of Czech Republic in the coefficients. Because all we need is an extra draw from somewhere, and we'd still be ahead of Czech Republic. We'd still be guaranteed a team automatically going into the Champions League. And that one draw against that team, and I'm not just blaming Hibs, but I'm looking at one result that should just never have happened. So when the Scottish teams are getting these weaker teams, they need to be capitalising. They need to be getting maximum points. And sometimes we see it doesn't happen. So I think St Mirren, looking at this tie, I think St Mirren should, hopefully, fingers crossed, take 2 wins here and move themselves into the next round. Right. Let's look at the Europa League. So here we can see we've got the seeded group and we've got the unseeded group. Kilmarnock has got there's a much smaller group here to decide who their opponents will be. Now, unfortunately for Kilmarnock, they are unseeded. However, if they do lose, they will drop in to the Europa Conference League, which obviously, is like a second lifeline. Now, do I expect Kilmarnock to beat any of these seeded teams? No. I think we can come to the conclusion that Kilmarnock are the underdogs against any of those seeded sides. Hell, I'm looking at some of the teams in the unseeded section, and Kilmarnock would be underdogs against them too. But I would say there's some teams I would give Kilmarnock a chance against. Whereas if Kilmarnock get Ajax, or a Braga, then it's probably all over. But I still think there's a couple of teams in there that I think Kilmarnock could give a good account of themselves and possibly even get a result. So, yeah, I mean, what do you want? Do you want Kilmarnock to get the shittest team from the seeded section that gives them the best chance of trying to cause that upset? Or would you like a massive tie? Would you like Kilmarnock to take on Ajax? It would probably result in 2 heavy defeats. But I mean, who knows? We've seen Dundee United beat AC Alkmaar, so anything could happen. But that's Kilmarnock's possible opponents. And if they win, they'll go into the next round. They'll go into the third qualifying rounds for the Europa League. If they lose, they go into the third qualifying round for the Europa Conference League. So just a matter, guys, of waiting. We will find out roughly in the afternoon later today who these teams are going to get. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that our teams can go far. We know that Celtic, Rangers and Hearts are guaranteed group stage football. But hopefully, I don't think Kilmarnock or St Mirren will get it. But hopefully they can at least win a tie or 2. That would be good to see. St Mirren definitely should. Kilmarnock might be tougher for them because they're in the Europa League, and then when they drop out of that, they're going to go into the Europa Conference League, but a round later where there's better teams. So it's going to be difficult, but I'd like to think that we can see St Mirren progress at least one round, and I'd like to think we can get Kilmarnock to get a decent result against somebody. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. That's it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Kilmarnock, do you want them to get Ajax, big tie, mega tie, glamour tie, or is it better for them to get the worst team possible and see if they can somehow cause an upset? Let us know down below and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.